Welcome to Anchors My Way, a podcast brought to you by In2cruising. I'm your host, Shakira, and I'm here to take you on an exciting journey through the world of cruising. Whether you're an experienced cruiser or just planning your first trip, I've got something for you. Thank you for joining me today, and let's get started.
Well, hello, In2cruisers. Welcome to another episode of Anchors My Way. Today, I want to talk to you about a question that I get asked from first-time cruisers all the time. So what type of cabin should I book? It depends on what type of cruise you're trying to do, to be honest. But for the most part, I don't have a preference or cabin location on the ship. So how do I choose my cabin? They ask me all the time. Mainly, I can say it's based on budget. So I do the majority of my cruises based on budget. The reason why it's because they're short and I don't really have to worry about what type of cabin I'm in. Whenever somebody asks me, should I book a balcony or an interior room? My first question to them is usually, are you claustrophobic? If you are, then you do not want to be in an enclosed space because it's like just a closed room without a window, very tight space. Some of these rooms are really, really tight. So if you're claustrophobic, you don't want to be in an interior. There'll be no lighting. It's like a box with a bed and a closet and a little bathroom. So the space is very limited and you're really tied up. So it's not like you have plenty of space to walk around. They've created extended interior rooms and extra rooms. But if you need a breather, then that would not be the cabin for you. So my advice would be not to book an interior. I have also been asked, what do you think about ocean views? It really depends on how that works for you and your mind. Yes, you're looking at the ocean somehow. Sometimes it's like a little circle that you don't even see the ocean because you're either too up high or you're blocked by one of the boats or I don't know, that the ocean view just doesn't do it for me. I did it once. I didn't like it. I never did it again. Another type of cabin, I guess has become popular with technology, not my favorite at all, are virtual views. So like they'll put some sort of like frame in the wall for you. Honestly, for me, it's like they're taking my money. They're just putting me in an interior room, charging me extra to add a virtual frame. I don't like it. I don't think I would pay extra to do this. But again, it's up to your taste. It's really not up to everybody. This is probably for people who can't be in interior rooms, but they want to have some sort of like an idea on their mind that it's a view. I don't know. I just wouldn't pay extra to do this. That's just my idea. My preference, it's not going to always be your preference. I'm never going to tell anybody not to book a type of cabin. If you feel comfortable in that cabin, then that's up to you. Another thing they always ask me is, what do you think about obstructed view balconies? Well, I've had myself obstructed view balconies because sometimes these cabins with obstructed views are where you get the perks because you get them cheaper and you get a balcony. So you get to have, a little extra room and you're not stuck in an interior. So, but sometimes they have like the lifeboats in front of them. Like in the middle, you have the lifeboats and you really can't have a full view of the ocean or anything like that. So you have to really think and consider, are you willing to sit at a balcony and not have a complete ocean view? Have something that obstructs your view. What's more important to you? Does it really work for you? Does it not? It depends on your specific needs. And that's the beauty of cruising. The other type of room that they have is the balcony, the regular balcony. And a lot of times I get asked this question, is it extremely necessary to have a balcony? I've done plenty of interiors. I'm not claustrophobic, so I don't have a problem with spacing issues. I usually travel by myself. So do I suggest interiors for a family of 4? No, because they're very tight space. So you'll be restricted. You would have to get your luggage in the way. There's little bunk beds involved. It's not comfortable at all. I would suggest you do a balcony room because you'll get a little extra space, but it's, like I said, it's entirely up to you. Then the next room of categories is a suite and family suites. Suites are nice and they're big and they're very beautiful, but they're priced highly. So it depends on your budget. They usually come with perks like onboard credit. They bundle with Wi-Fi, drink packages. To me, the biggest thing is not space. I usually travel alone, but if you're traveling with your kids, with your family, with, other people that you're joining cruises, you want to have the most space possible. So if space is an issue for you, then I would suggest you get a suite. If you're doing like, 2 adults, 4 kids, definitely get a suite. I have never stayed in a suite myself. I don't ever travel with such a large group. When we travel with family, everybody gets their own room. We are a large family and are always together. So for vacation, we don't want to stick so together. So everyone gets their own cabin. But again, it's a choice. It's not something that somebody can tell you what's the best. And then you have the luxury suites that are the most expensive penthouse, and I've seen them on videos. They look amazing. So if you have the budget for that, then definitely go for it. They look like a ship within a ship. It's actually nice. My overall advice would be to consider your needs and choose what is best for you and your family. What might be budget friendly for me might not be for you. What might be comfortable for me might not be for you. So really, the options of choosing a cabin, it's very personal. If you're working with a travel agent, you need to let them know your priorities and your preferences so they can further help you. Another thing that I would like to mention, because a lot of first-time cruisers might not know, that you're not allowed to smoke in your cabin or your balcony. I have seen it. Over 80% of smokers get cabins with balcony because they think they're able to smoke. And you're not allowed on any cruise lines to do this. If you get caught doing it, please note that you're not allowed to smoke in your balconies. You're only allowed to smoke in the designated areas of the ship. A lot of smokers book balconies incorrectly. When they get to the cruise, they get upset. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know you couldn't smoke on the balcony and I paid extra money and now I can't even use it. If you're caught smoking on your stateroom balcony aboard your cruise, you'll probably be assessed a fine. On Carnival, for example, it's $500 charged for each violation, and it's automatically added to your sail and sign account. Balconies are great, but to me, they're not worth the extra charge unless the itinerary requires it. What do I mean by this? Like if you're going to an Alaska cruise, then that's a total different story because the scenery is to die for. I haven't been, but I've seen many, many cruises. So I'm telling you, if you're going to Alaska, you do require a balcony stateroom. You could also do an interior, but your trip would be totally different if you did a balcony. I personally don't book balconies all the time because my job as a content creator requires being around the ship most of the day and the night. I only come to my cabin barely to sleep. This is how a typical day will go for me. So I get up at 4:30 in the morning and walk around the ship and do my usual tour, come back 8, 9 in the morning, take a shower, change clothes, go back, eat breakfast, maybe get off on an island, do some different, some activities, then have lunch, do the afternoon activities, come back to the cabin, shower, change, get ready for the night activities, go to dinner, see the shows, and I end up back in my cabin around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So really, is it worth getting a balcony for me? It is not. I don't think I have to spend that extra money. So, but if you follow me on social media, you might have noticed that I book balconies on all my MSC ships. I have not paid extra. I get friends and family discount because my son works for the line. So I don't have to spend that extra money. And I get the perk of having the balcony, which is always nice. I just don't feel like I have to do the extra expense. Another question I get asked all the time is the location. Where should I book my cabin? Choosing the location of your cabin on your ship, it's critical for some people. It's also about your preference. So where should I book? Aft, midship, or forward? And you might be wondering, what are these words? Aft is the back of the ship. Midship is exactly what it says, the middle of the ship. And forward is the front of the ship. For me, personally, it doesn't matter. But how do I know where the cabin will be located is one question that everyone asks me when they're going to book for a first time. Every cruise line has a deck plan on the website. So you can go there and go see where the staterooms are located and you can get an idea of what the staterooms are going to look like. There are some factors to consider when selecting a location of your cabin that you need to be aware of. If you're prone to seasickness, you don't want to feel the motion of the ship, it's best to choose a cabin on lower decks and midship. It's the most stable. The lower decks tend to experience less motion than the higher decks. Even if you choose a balcony room, choose a lower level deck. The high deck cabins and the front, forward, or back aft of the ships tend to rock the most, depending on your desire to socialize. soak up the sun, enjoy some peace and quiet, you'll want to think strategically where the cabin is on board the cruise ship. That's particularly true on today's mega ships because the location can mean long walks. These cruises are huge. So you have to really think about what's convenient for you. I don't mind walking all around a ship. Some people might get tired just walking from point A to point B. So that's something you need to consider. So for sun worshippers, you might want to do upper decks, closest to the pool, closest to the areas where they do the activities outside, the bars. So that would probably be best for you. While travelers with mobility concerns may prefer a stateroom close to the elevators. Or if you want a quiet area, you might need to have your location to be the furthest away from like the atriums and the center areas where these activities usually take place. When it comes to noise, the best bet is to select a cabin that is both above and below other cabins instead of public spaces. Like the deck plan would tell you where the pools areas are located, the bars, the theaters, the nightclubs, locations, and you don't want to do anything close to that if you want to have a quiet cabinet. So like for example, laundrettes, all can be noisy at various times. Other rooms to avoid on a cruise ship are those situated at the low back end of a cruise ship. Those are the closest to the engine noise, which can cause vibrations, and you could also hear the anchor. I actually did once. Rooms that are on the low front of the ship are closer to the bow thruster. So you also have to take that into consideration. And you might be wondering, what's my favorite location on the ship? Well, I would prefer to do midship decks 9 to 16. But if there's no availability, it's fine with me. I don't care. I can go forward, aft, low, high, next to the anchor in a box. I really don't mind. I am into cruising. So when I choose a cabin, it is not as important to me. I don't have a preference. I can go anywhere on the ship, but it might make a difference on your trip. So take all these points into consideration before you book your cabin. You need to delegate all these necessities and all these points to your travel agent so that they can know what location to get for you. I just wanted to bring this up so that you understand that selecting the right cabin for you and the right location on the ship can make the difference in your entire trip. Like I always say, you can contact me on social media and we'll be in touch. For my next episode, we're going to be talking about one of the most important things on cruises, embarkation process. To me, it's one of the most important things because it can define your experience. Whatever happens on your embarkation day can dictate the rest of the cruise, whether it will be smoothly or not. So stay tuned. I really hope you like this episode and see you on the next one.